What pop with it, y'all? I'm not gonna lie, it's a super late read. It's currently February 7th at 11:59, as y'all can see. I'm not really gonna do too much talking. Hope y'all had a blessed and prosperous day. Gonna do 15 minutes on the clock. So y'all, go ahead, let's type in. Alright, so we're picking up where we left off from yesterday, which is on page 160. And hold on. Alright, y'all, so we resuming on page 161 from yesterday, in chapter 7, which is manage your environment, go first class. So let's go ahead and get into it. So it says at the end of the page, it says, and contrary to lots of opinion, when women have no exclusive franchise on gossip. Every day, many men, too, live in a partial poison environment. Every day, thousands of gossip fest staged by men take place on topics as the boss, marital or financial problems, bills, politicking to get ahead in business, the probability of John being transferred, the reasons for special favors being awarded Tom, and why they brought in that new man. Gossiping goes something like this. Say I just heard, know why? Well, it doesn't surprise me. He had it coming, of course. This is confidential. Conversation is a big part of our psychological environment. Some conversation is healthy. Some conversations is healthy. It encourages you. It makes you feel like you're taking a walk in warm sunshine on a spring day. Some conversations make you feel like a winner, but other conversations is more like walking through poisonous radioactive cloud. It chokes you. It makes you feel ill. It turns you into a loser. Gossip is just negative conversation about people, and the victim of thought poison begins to think he enjoys it. He seems to get a form of poison joy from talking negatively about others, not knowing that to successful people he is becoming increasingly unlikable and unreliable. One of these thought poison addicts walked into a conversation with some friends and I some friends and I were having about Ben Franklin. As soon as Mr. Killjoy learned the topic of our chat, he came through with the choice bits about Franklin's personal life in a negative way. Perhaps it's true that Franklin was a character in some ways. He might have had the scandal magazines had they been around in the 18th century. But the point is, Benjamin Franklin's personal life has no bearing on the discussion at hand, and I couldn't help being glad that we weren't discussing somebody whom we knew intimately. Talk about people, yes, stay on the positive side. Let's make one point clear. Not all conversation is gossip. Bull sessions, stop talk, and just battle the breeze are necessary at times. They serve as a good purpose when they are constructive. You can test your pronsis. Let's see, how do you say this? Pronousness. I think it's pronousness. Let's see. Proneness. Okay, so you can test your proneness to get a gossiper by taking this test. Number 1, do I spread rumors about other people? Number 2, do I always have good things to say about others? Number 3, do I like to hear reports of scandal? Number 4, do I judge others only on the basis of facts? Number 5, do I encourage others to bring their rumors to me? Number 6, do I proceed my conversations with don't tell anybody? Number 7, do I keep confidential information confidential? And number 8, do I feel guilty about what I say concerning other people? The right answers are obvious. Meditate on this thought for just a moment. Taking axe and chopping your neighbor's furniture to pieces won't make your furniture look one bit better. And using verbal axes and grenades on another person doesn't do one thing to make you a better you or a better me. Go first class. This is an excellent rule to follow in everything you do, including the goods and services you buy. Wants to improve the unconditional truth of the go first class thinking, I asked a group of trainees to give me one example on how they'd been penny wise and pound foolish. Here are some sample replies. I bought a low price suit from an offbeat realtor. Thought I got a bargain, but the suit was simply no good. My car needed a new automatic transmission. Took it to an alley garage that agreed to do the job for $25 less than an authorized dealer. The new transmission lasted 118 miles. I'm tripping. Lasted 1,800 miles, and the garage wouldn't make it right. For months I ate a real greasy spoon trying to save money. The place wasn't clean, the food wasn't good, and the service, well, you couldn't call it that. And the clientele was a bunch of down at healers. Bro, his wordplay is very interesting in this book. One day a friend persuaded me to join him for lunch at one of the best restaurants in town. He ordered the businessman lunch, so I did too. I was amazed at what I got. Good food, good service, good atmosphere, and for just a little more than I'd be paying at the Greasy Spoon. I learned a big lesson. There were many other replies. One fellow reported that he got in trouble with the Bureau of Internal Revenue because he had used a bargain accountant. Another went to a cut rate doctor and later learned he had received a completely wrong diagnosis. Others related the cost of going second class in home repairs, hotels, and other goods and services. Of course, I've heard the argument many times, but I couldn't afford to go to first class. The simple answer is you cannot afford to go any other way. Certainly in the long run, going first class actually costs you less than going second class. Then, too, it's better to have fewer and have quality than to have many things and have junk. It's better, for example, to have one really good pair of shoes than to have 3 pairs of second class shoes. People rate you for quality, often subconsciously perhaps. Developed an instinct for quality. It pays, and it costs no more, often costs less than second class. Make your environment make you successful. Number 1, be environmentally conscious. Just as body diet makes the body, mind diet makes the mind. Number 2, make your environment work for you, not against you. Don't let suppressive forces, the negative, you can't do it people, make you feel defeat. Number 3, don't let small thinking people hold you back. Jealous people want to see you stumble. Don't give them that satisfaction. Number 4, get your advice from successful people. Your future is important. Never risk it with freelance advisors who are living failures. Basically, people, if they're not where you want to be at, it's no point of listening to them. Facts. Number 5, get plenty of psychological sunshine. Circulate in new groups. Discover new and stimulating things to do. Number 6, throw the thought poison at your environment. Avoid gossip. Talk about people, but stay on the positive side. And number 7, go first class in everything you do. You can't afford to go any other way. Alright, we are in chapter 8, which is make your attitudes your allies. Can you read minds? Reading minds is easier than you think. Perhaps you've never thought of it, but you read the minds of other people and they read your mind every day. How do we do it? We do it automatically through attitude appraisals. Remember the song, You Don't Need to Know the Language to Say You're in Love? Bing Crosby made it famous some years ago. There's a whole book full of applied psychology packed into those simple lyrics. You don't need to know the language to say you're in love. Anyone who's ever been in love knows that. And you don't need to know any language to say I like you or I despise you or I think you're important or unimportant or I envy you. You don't need to know words or to use words to say I like my job or I'm bored or I'm hungry. People speak without a sound. How we think shows through in how we act. Man, how we think shows through in how we act. Attitudes are mirrors of the mind. They reflect thinking. You can read the mind of a fellow sitting at a desk. You sense by observing his expressions and mannerisms how he feels towards his job. You can read the minds of the salesmen, students, husbands, and wives. You not only can, you do. The expert actors, those in demand in movies and television year after year, in a sense, are not actors at all. They don't play their roles. Instead, they lose their identity and actually think and feel more like the character they're playing. They've got to. Else they look like phonies and their ratings will plunge. Attitudes do more than slow through. They sound through too. A secretary does more than identify an office when she says, "Good morning, Mr. Shoemaker's office." In 5 words, one secretary says, "I like you, I'm glad you're calling, I think you're important, I like my job." But another secretary saying the exact same words tells you, "You bother me, I wish you hadn't called, I'm bored with my job, and I don't like people who bother me." You read attitudes through impressions and voice tones and inflections. Here's why. In the long run, long history of humankind, a speaking language, even remotely resembling what we use today, is very recent invention. So recent, you might say, in terms of the great clock of time, that we've developed a language only this morning. For millions and millions of years, people go by this little more than moans and groans and grunts and growls. So millions of years, people communicated with other people by body and facial expressions and sounds, not words. And we still communicate our attitudes, our feelings towards people and things the same way. Aside from direct body contact, body movements, facial expressions, and sounds are the only ways we use to communicate with infants. And those young ones show an uncanny ability to spot the phony. Professor Erwin H. Shrell, one of America's most respected authorities on leadership, says obviously there is something more than facilities and competence that makes you feel accomplished. I have to come to believe that the linkage factor, the catalyst, if you will, can be defined in one simple word: attitude. When your attitude is right, our abilities reach a maximum of effectiveness and good results inevitably follow. Attitudes do make the difference. Sales with the right attitude beat their quotas. Students with the right attitude make as right attitudes pave the way to real happy married life. Right attitudes make you feel effective in dealing with people, enable you to develop as a leader. Right attitudes win for you in every situation. Grow these 3 attitudes, make them your allies in everything you do. Number 1, grow the attitude of I'm activated. Number 2, grow the attitude of you are important. Number 3, grow the attitude of service first. Now let's see how. Years ago, I was a young college sophomore. I enrolled in an American history class. I remember the class very vividly. Not because I learned much about American history, but because in an unusual way I learned the basic principle of successful simple living. To activate others, you must activate yourself. The history class was very large and it was held in a fan-shaped auditorium. The professor, who was a middle-aged fellow and apparently a well-educated, was nevertheless pathetically dull. Rather than interpret history as an alive, fascinating subject, the professor merely cited one dead fact after another. It was a frightful wonder how he could possibly make an interesting subject so terribly dull, but he did. You can imagine the effect the professor's boredom had on the students. Talking and sleeping got so out of hand that the professor had two assistants patrol the aisles to break up student conversations and wake up those who had dozed off. Occasionally, the professor would stop and shake his finger at the class and would say, "I'm warning you. You've got to pay attention to what I say. You got to stop talking," and there it is to it. This, of course, made little impression on his students, many of whom, as veterans, had gambled their lives only months before, had made history on islands and in bombers. As I sat there watching this potential great, wonderful experience turn into a disgusting farce, I found myself wrestling with the question, why are the students ignoring what the professor has to say? The answer came. The students had no interest in what the professor had to say because the professor himself had no interest. We're almost done, y'all. I'm going to read the last little bit of this and then we'll get on the next page. The professor himself had no interest. He was bored with history and it showed through. To activate others, to get them to be enthusiastic, you must be enthusiastic yourself. Over the years, I've tested this principle of hundreds of different situations. It was always hold true. A man who lacks enthusiasm never develops it in another, but a person who's enthusiastic soon has enthusiastic followers. The enthusiastic salesman never needs to worry about unenthusiastic buyers. The enthusiastic teacher never worry about disinterested students. The activated minister need never be distressed by a sleepy congregation. The bookmark right here, y'all. We're currently in chapter 8. Make your attitudes your allies, and we'll resume on page 170 tomorrow. Y'all be safe. Y'all stay blessed. Y'all stay encouraged. Get with y'all later.